Sullivan's Crossing Season 4 has finally dropped its first trailer, and let me just say, it is everything I hoped for and more. The drama, the emotions, the shocking reveals. This is the kind of teaser that doesn't just get you hyped, it leaves you asking 100 new questions. If you thought Season 3 had twists that made your jaw hit the floor, Season 4 is gearing up to completely rewrite the story we thought we knew. And the love triangle? Oh, trust me, it's even messier than anyone expected. The trailer wastes no time reminding us of the chaos Season 3 left behind. That jaw-dropping moment when Liam walked in and dropped the bomb that he's not just Maggie's ex, but her actual husband. It set the entire foundation for Season 4, and now the first look proves this storyline is about to explode. In the opening seconds, you can feel the tension radiating between Maggie, Cal, and Liam. Maggie's torn, Cal's devastated, and Liam looks like he's ready to reclaim what he thinks is rightfully his. What struck me most about the trailer is how raw the emotions are. Maggie doesn't look like someone who planned to keep this a secret. Her shock in the finale was genuine, and the trailer doubles down on that, with scenes of her trying to explain, trying to figure out how this even happened, and at the same time, trying to hold on to her life in Timberlake. But here's the kicker. Cal doesn't look like he's sticking around quietly. You can almost feel his heartbreak turning into doubt, and I don't know about you, but the look on his face in those clips screams betrayal. This is what makes Season 4 so gripping. The love triangle isn't just a recycled drama, it's deeply personal. Cal gave up so much to be with Maggie, believing in a future with her, and now the ground has been ripped out from under him. And Liam? He doesn't appear to be just a casual complication. The trailer hints he's not going anywhere anytime soon. That means we're about to see Maggie pushed into a corner where every choice she makes hurts someone she loves. Honestly, I think this season might be the most emotionally devastating yet. Because for once, it's not just about careers or family drama, it's about whether love itself can survive the weight of secrets. And here's the question I keep asking myself. How do you root for Maggie and Cal to stay together when technically, legally, she's still tied to someone else? The trailer doesn't answer that, of course. It just teases us with stolen glances, tense confrontations, and the kind of dramatic music that makes your stomach flip. But one thing is crystal clear. Season 4 is setting up a battle not just between Maggie's past and her present, but between her heart and her reality. And I have a feeling none of us are ready for how painful that choice is going to be. What really struck me in this first look is how the trailer doesn't just spotlight Maggie's dilemma, it carefully layers in the ripple effect across every character in Timberlake. Because let's be honest, nothing in Sullivan's Crossing ever stays contained. The trailer hints that the fallout from Liam's reappearance is going to touch everyone, whether they're ready for it or not. For one thing, Edna's recovery is front and center again, and it's impossible not to notice how she becomes a quiet voice of reason in all this chaos. She's always been the practical one, the rock in the storm, but you can see in the trailer that even she is shaken by Maggie's situation. It's not just about Maggie's marriage being a shock, it's about what it means for the people who've built a life around her. Frank, for example, looks like he's carrying even more on his shoulders. He's supporting Edna while also trying to be a steady presence for Maggie, but the weight of it all is visible in his eyes. And then there's Sully. Oh yes, the trailer doesn't let us forget about him. We see quick flashes of him in Ireland, and while on the surface it looks like he's finally embracing this long overdue chapter with Helen, the timing couldn't be worse. His absence from Timberlake creates a vacuum, and you can sense how much his presence is missed. The Crossing has always been about connection, about people leaning on each other when life gets messy, but what happens when one of the pillars is gone at the exact moment everything else is crumbling? That's the undercurrent running through this trailer. And I think that's why it feels heavier than past seasons, because this time, there isn't just one problem to solve. Maggie is torn between two men, Cal is questioning everything, Liam is refusing to back down, Edna is fragile, Frank is stretched thin, and Sully is an ocean away. It's like the writers threw every emotional grenade they had into one season and lit the fuse. But here's where the trailer really twists the knife. Those tiny moments where characters look at each other, say nothing, but their expressions speak volumes. Cal looking at Maggie with hurt that words can't capture. Liam standing tall like he belongs in her life, whether she agrees or not. And Maggie, caught between desperation and determination, like she knows there's no easy way out. The silence between them is louder than any dialogue, and it's that silence that tells me season 4 is going to push these characters into corners they've never been before. The big question isn't just who Maggie chooses, it's who she becomes when forced to make that choice. Will she fight for Cal, the man she truly loves, or will she be pulled back into a past she thought was long gone? And more importantly, how will Timberlake survive the storm that follows? Because from the look of this trailer, the storm isn't just coming, it's already here. If there's one thing the trailer makes crystal clear, it's that the love triangle between Maggie, Cal, and Liam isn't going to be some side plot. It's the beating heart of season 4, and it's going to hurt in all the best and worst ways. We all know Maggie's connection with Cal has been the emotional anchor of the series, the relationship that's given fans hope and heartbreak in equal measure. But now, with Liam stepping back into the picture, the story flips completely on its head. The trailer teases moments that are impossible to ignore. Cal looking more distant than ever, Liam trying to rekindle old sparks, and Maggie caught in the middle, torn between the love she fought for and the past she thought she buried. What's so brutal about this triangle is that it isn't black and white. Liam isn't presented as some obvious villain, at least not in the quick flashes we get. Instead, he looks like someone who truly believes he belongs with Maggie, and that makes him dangerous in a different way. Cal, on the other hand, doesn't need to say much to break our hearts. You can see it in the way his shoulders slump, in the way he avoids Maggie's gaze, in those fleeting moments where his silence says everything. He's a man questioning whether he's enough, and that insecurity cuts deeper than any argument ever could. And then there's Maggie. Her face tells a story of someone who desperately wants to hold on to the life she's built, but also knows she can't erase the fact that Liam is part of her truth now. The tension boils in every interaction, every glance, every word left unsaid. And the cruel reality, no matter what she chooses, someone is going to be shattered. This is why season 4 feels so unpredictable. The show is setting up a scenario where happy endings might not exist. Instead, we're watching 3 people crash into each other with love, history, and pain tangled up so tightly that untangling it might be impossible. And let's not forget how small Timberlake really is. Every awkward run-in, every lingering stare, every whispered rumor is amplified in a town where everyone knows each other's business. The trailer even hints at scenes where townsfolk are clearly aware something is brewing, and that makes everything even more suffocating for Maggie. She isn't just choosing between Cal and Liam, she's choosing in front of an entire community that's invested in her life. And that raises the stakes to a whole new level. What we're left with is this unbearable suspense. Will Maggie and Cal survive the storm, or will Liam's return rewrite the love story we thought we knew? The trailer doesn't give us answers, and honestly, I think that's the point. It wants us to stew in the tension, to feel the heartbreak before it even happens, to question what we would do in Maggie's place. And if the finale of season 3 blindsided us, I have no doubt season 4 is preparing to devastate us in ways we're not ready for. One of the most intriguing parts of the trailer isn't even happening in Timberlake. It's what we see of Sully in Ireland. For seasons, we've watched him wrestle with guilt, regret, and the ghosts of his past, and now it looks like season 4 is finally pushing him to confront those demons head-on. The trailer shows brief but powerful flashes of Sully walking through the Irish countryside with Helen by his side, and while it seems peaceful at first glance, there's this unmistakable weight in his expression. He looks like a man trying to make peace with himself, but also one who knows peace doesn't come easy. And here's where the suspense kicks in. As Sully tries to heal in Ireland, everything back in Timberlake is falling apart without him. Edna is still recovering, Frank is spread thin, Maggie is drowning in her own chaos, and Cal looks like he's on the verge of breaking. It's almost cruel timing. Sully finally takes a step toward happiness, but it happens just as his family needs him the most. The trailer even hints at moments where he's torn between staying in Ireland to embrace this long-delayed chapter with Helen, or returning home to a town that feels like it's collapsing without his steady presence. And the emotional punch? We all know Sully's relationship with Maggie has always been complicated, layered with years of silence, resentment, and unspoken love. Imagine him coming back only to find her life unraveling in ways he never could have imagined. Will he be able to guide her through it, or will his absence create a rift that can't be mended? That's the terrifying possibility the trailer teases. Because Sully's journey isn't just about healing himself, it's about whether he can still be the father figure Maggie truly needs when everything else in her world is crumbling. And let's not forget Helen. She's been the one pushing Sully forward, helping him move beyond the past. But how will she react if the drama in Timberlake pulls him back in? The trailer suggests tension brewing there too, as if Sully's happiness might come at the cost of yet another broken relationship. The genius of this first look is how it sets up Sully's story as a mirror to Maggie's. Both are standing at crossroads. Both are torn between past and present. Both are forced to make choices that will define not just their futures, but the futures of everyone around them. And just like Maggie, Sully isn't given an easy way out. That's what makes season 4 feel so rich already. It's not about clean resolutions, it's about messy, painful choices that leave scars. And the question that keeps me up at night after watching this trailer is simple. When Sully finally returns to Timberlake, will he be the glue that holds everything together, or will he arrive too late to stop it all from falling apart? And that brings us to the question that the trailer refuses to answer. The question that will define season 4 of Sullivan's Crossing: who gets broken and who survives? Because make no mistake, the season isn't shaping up to give us fairy tale endings. It's shaping up to tear down everything we thought we knew about these characters. Maggie is at the center of the storm, and no matter what she does, she risks losing someone she loves. If she fights for Cal, she risks legal and emotional chaos with Liam. If she gives Liam a chance, she risks destroying the most meaningful relationship she's ever had. And let's not forget, this isn't just about romance. The trailer teases scenes of Maggie in full-on turmoil, trying to balance her career, her patience, her family, and now this explosive personal drama. That's the kind of weight that can break a person, and you can see in those flashes that the cracks are already showing. Cal, meanwhile, looks like a man bracing for heartbreak. He knows the odds are against him, but he also knows he can't just walk away. There's this lingering sense that his love for Maggie is stronger than his pride. But how long can that last when every day feels like a reminder that he's competing with a husband Maggie never officially left behind? And Liam, love him or hate him, he's here to stay. The trailer shows just enough of his determination to let us know he's not stepping aside quietly. That means season 4 isn't about a simple reunion or a clean breakup. It's about a collision, a triangle that can't exist without someone getting crushed. Layer onto that Sully's absence in Ireland, Edna's fragile health, Frank's quiet struggle, and the weight of an entire town watching from the sidelines, and what you get is a season that feels like a pressure cooker ready to blow. And the scariest part? The trailer doesn't even scratch the surface of the biggest twists. If Sullivan's Crossing has taught us anything, it's that the writers love blindsiding us when we least expect it. Season 3 proved that with Liam's reveal, so what bombshells are waiting for us in Season 4? Will Maggie's marriage turn out to be more complicated than a Vegas mistake? Will Cal finally reach his breaking point? Will Sully's journey abroad change him so much that Timberlake doesn't even feel like home anymore? These are the questions haunting me after watching the first look. And if the trailer is this intense, I can only imagine how devastating the actual season will be. One thing is certain, Season 4 is not going to pull any punches. It's going to break hearts, test loyalties, and leave us all gasping for air. So buckle up, because if you thought last season was a roller coaster, this one looks like a free fall. The season opens with a haunting quiet that is almost too heavy for Timberlake to carry. The camera pans across Sullivan's Crossing as dawn bleeds through a curtain of fog, soft pastels brushing the horizon over the lake. Water still and tense, as if it too knows that nothing is quite the same anymore. The cabins sit dark, their chimneys dormant. But Maggie Sullivan is awake already, standing at the edge of the dock in a hooded sweatshirt, arms folded against the chill, staring into the silver sheet of water where her reflection wavers and distorts, just like her thoughts. Last season's cliffhanger still gnaws at her. Liam, the man she thought was only a relic of her past, reappeared with words that shattered the fragile future she was building. "We're still married, Maggie. I'm your husband." His voice lingers in her ears like an echo she can't shake. She has spent the whole night unable to sleep, going over every decision, every paper she signed, every mistake she thought she had buried with her departure from Boston. And now, here she is, back in Timberlake, with a town counting on her clinic, a father across the ocean who hasn't called in days, a community holding its breath, and Cal, whose steady love had felt like the beginning of something real, now pushed to the margins by a secret she hadn't even remembered existed. Her phone buzzes in her pocket. She doesn't reach for it. For a long moment, she thinks of just walking out onto the dock, slipping into the freezing water, and letting the shock wake her fully. Instead, she takes a deep breath, turns, and begins the long walk back up the hill to the clinic, her steps heavy with both determination and dread. Inside the small clinic that once felt like a sanctuary, the atmosphere is brittle. Files are stacked high, the coffee pot hisses, and the waiting chairs stand empty, but the walls seem to carry whispers of the town's worries. Sully's absence in Ireland with Helen, the fear that without him the crossing will crumble, and the unspoken gossip about Maggie's entanglements. She sets her keys on the counter and pours herself coffee, only to see Cal appear in the doorway, shoulders squared, jaw clenched. He doesn't say hello. He just stands there staring, eyes carrying hurt and confusion. "So it's true," he finally says, his voice low, careful, but cutting. "You're married." Maggie closes her eyes. She had rehearsed explanations all night, but none of them sound right now. "I didn't know, Cal. I mean, I knew once, but it was so long ago. It was a mistake, and I thought it was over." Cal shakes his head, stepping into the room, his boots heavy on the wooden floor. "A mistake is forgetting your keys. A mistake is burning a batch of coffee. A marriage doesn't just disappear because you stop thinking about it." Maggie's hand trembles as she sets her cup down. "I never wanted to hurt you," she whispers. For a beat, silence stretches. Cal's face softens, just slightly, enough to show how much he wants to believe her, but he turns away. "You didn't want to, but you did." And with that, he walks out, leaving the door swinging behind him and Maggie's chest hollow. The episode doesn't let Maggie breathe. Almost immediately, Liam himself arrives, suitcase in hand, posture apologetic, but also oddly entitled, as though he expects at least a conversation. He finds her at the front desk, red-rimmed eyes and trembling fingers flipping through files. "Mags," he says gently, the nickname sharp as glass. "Don't," she cuts him off, refusing to meet his gaze. "Don't come here and act like you still know me. You don't." Liam sets his suitcase down anyway, leaning against the counter. "I know enough. I know we made vows, even if we made them when we were too young and too broken. And I know you don't just erase something like that." Maggie finally looks up, fury rising through her exhaustion. "You disappeared, Liam. You let me believe it was over. You let me build a life without you. And now you show up and think you can just... what? Pick up where you left off? I don't need saving. I don't need you." But Liam shakes his head. "I didn't come to save you. I came to make things right. For both of us." His eyes are softer than she remembers, but she hardens her own heart. "You should have thought of that before." The silence stretches again, thick enough to choke on. The clinic phone rings, mercifully breaking the tension. Maggie picks it up. It's Edna, voice tight with fear. "Maggie, it's Frank. Something's wrong." Maggie doesn't hesitate. She grabs her bag, brushes past Liam, and bolts out the door, professionalism momentarily rescuing her from personal collapse. The camera shifts to Frank and Edna's cabin, where Frank sits pale, trembling, sweat slicking his forehead. Edna is frantic, hovering but helpless. Maggie bursts in, immediately sliding into doctor mode, checking his pulse, his pupils, her voice steady even though her insides are shaking. "It's a seizure," she says, grabbing supplies. "Edna, I need you to keep him still. He's going to be okay." And she means it, but her hands are cold as ice. The episode lingers on her competence, her control, and then, when Frank finally calms, exhausted but alive, the camera lingers on Edna's tear-streaked face as she whispers, "Thank you, Maggie. I don't know what we'd do without you." Maggie smiles weakly, brushes hair from her face, but inside she's screaming because she's not sure how much longer she can keep everyone afloat. Her patients, her father's campground, her own fractured heart. Meanwhile, in Ireland, Sully walks along a windswept cliff with Helen. The Atlantic crashes below, gulls wheel overhead, and his expression is a war between peace and guilt. Helen loops her arm through his, telling him to let go of the past, but Sully's eyes are haunted. "Maggie needs me," he admits softly. "She always did, and I never stayed long enough to be what she needed." Helen squeezes his hand. "Maybe this is your chance. Maybe coming here was about finding the strength to go back." But Sully only stares out at the water, torn between the pull of new beginnings and the chains of unfinished business. Back in Timberlake, Maggie stands at the clinic window that night, watching rain streak the glass, watching her own reflection dissolve and reform in the warped pain. She sees herself as daughter, as doctor, as accidental wife, as woman who longs for love but feels cursed to sabotage it. And in the stillness, the camera closes in until all that remains is her whisper to herself, almost prayer-like, "How do I fix this?" The answer does not come. Not yet. Instead, the next day, the entire town gathers at the crossing for a hastily called community meeting about land sales and campground operations in Sully's absence. Glenn Perry, ever the opportunist, presents flashy plans for development, glossy posters of modern cabins, and a marina that would turn the quiet refuge into a tourist trap. Maggie sits at the front, numb, her mind still on Frank's health scare and Cal's cold departure. But when Glenn smirks and says, "Sullivan's Crossing has potential, but it's been wasted on nostalgia and old debts," something inside her snaps. She rises, her voice firm, louder than she intended. "This place is not wasted. It's healing, it's family, and it's ours." The crowd murmurs approval, and for the first time since Liam's reappearance, Maggie feels a flicker of strength. But Cal, across the room, doesn't clap. He just watches her with an expression that is equal parts pride and sorrow, as though he doesn't know whether to stand with her or walk away forever. Liam, meanwhile, lingers at the back, silently taking in the community she has built without him, the roots she's grown, and for the first time, he looks uncertain about where he fits. The episode closes with Maggie alone again at the dock, this time under moonlight. She holds a letter Sully sent, crumpled from being read too many times. His words are simple. "I'm trying, Mags. I'll come home when I can. Take care of the crossing until I do." She folds it, presses it to her heart, and looks out at the endless water. The soundtrack swells, hopeful but mournful, as the camera pans upward, leaving Maggie silhouetted against the stars, a woman caught between past and future, love and loss, duty and desire. The screen fades to black with the whisper of waves, and the season has only just begun. Heavy with questions, fragile with possibilities, and brimming with the promise that nothing in Sullivan's Crossing will ever be the same again.